guys. We are going to get started here. This is the 15 Laws of Growth with John C Maxwell class, and tonight is about the law of environment. And I posted the worksheet in the chat, and if you need it, just let me know and I can get that to you. This basically, the law of environment means or says that growth thrives in conducive surroundings. So, if you're not in a good environment, this kind of really goes with life as well as network marketing, but it's hard to do the things that you want to do if you're not in a very good environment. So you want to really take a good, long, hard look at your environment and if it's conducive to growth, right? We're all trying to grow ourselves here. We're trying to better ourselves so that we can better run this business, but also so that we can, hey Heather.
Hi.
I'm going to mute you. Sorry. We want to grow ourselves so that we can better, work in this business, and so we can be better leaders, and so we can be better moms, and so we can be better everything, right? So growth thrives in conducive surroundings. So we want to make sure that our environment is good. So let's see. The first step of success is taken when you refuse to be held captive in the environment that you find yourself in. So, I just really like that because it was, sorry, I've got something on my screen. Don't be held captive by that. Change it. Do something to change that for yourself. And that's the first step to your success. It's going to be to change your environment if you're not in a good one. Let's see. He talks about one of his mentors, and this is what his mentor's advice was, is number one, spend time with great people. You can only be as good as the people that you hang around. And a little bit later, this might get brought up too, but Jim Rohn says that you are made up of the 5 people that you hang around most. So, if you're hanging around toxic people, you're usually a toxic person. And so you really want to take a good look at who you're hanging around. Spend time with great people that, are bettering themselves, and that's going to help you to better yourself as well. And then, he kind of gave the analogy of golf again, because obviously he loves golf. And this was true to me. I really like this analogy, and I have seen this in soccer quite a few times. But he basically says, if I'm playing golf with a partner and this, person is better than me, I'm usually going to play better. And then he says, if which is true. If there's a golfer that, I'm playing with and he's not quite as good as me, I usually will play not quite as good. And I've seen this time and time and time again on my husband's soccer teams. He has, these amazing teams that will go out and play really poorly against very poor teams. But on the flip side of that, they will play well beyond their ability when they play good teams. So always just be looking for more and better and, people that are better than you and try to, involve them in your life. And vice versa with the toxic people. It may be time to have a conversation and really, change who you're hanging around. So he says, number 2, go to places that will bring greatness out of you. So John talks about he has visited all of the presidential libraries, and he loves them because, greatness, obviously a president is great, right? So this is all about great people, great men of this country. And so that made, sense to me, where you want to learn about good things and visit these really cool places that you're going to continue to learn and grow. And then he says, number 3, read great books. And then, he says basically he has no time for fiction. And I am in the same boat. If I'm going to read anything nowadays, because I am not a reader, it is, about personal growth and leadership and that kind of thing. I don't have time for anything but that. So read really good books. One thing that I have noticed a lot in this business is people always ask, okay, what's a great book to read? And everybody has an answer. They you know, I have books that I would recommend. You know, Sarah Taylor would recommend certain books, and Sarah Marble would recommend certain books. And, you know, they all are readers. You know, I've said it before, leaders are readers. And, you know, reading good books is good. It's going to help you, and it's going to propel you forward, and it's not time wasting. And it's kind of goes, you know, along the same lines of like TV and stuff like that. You know, you're not going to get anything out of that. Maybe a little relaxation, and I completely get that. Trust me, I've got 9 kids, and a very busy life, and I get just vegging in front of the TV, which I do on occasion. But just, you know, think about that. Are you, you know, growing yourself? Is what you're doing bettering you? And, you know, don't read books that are not doing that. And then number 4, attend great events. So for us, you know, that would be convention. That would be Super Saturday. That would be showing up to calls like this. You know, anything that our Diamond Uplines are doing, any opportunity events that are around, anything that the corporate office sponsors, you want to attend those great events, and that really is going to propel you forward in this business and make you successful. And that, you know, I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again a million times. Leaders are born at events, and I've been to a few, and I absolutely agree with that. Let's see, number 5, nourish yourself. Learn to motivate yourself. If you're going to be great, you have to be great consistently. If you are going to be great consistently, you have to motivate yourself consistently, okay? And a couple of these, I'll go back through our worksheet, but a couple of these points are on the worksheet. But so this kind of analogy came to me, and I'm sure I am like the graphic queen. I have a graphic for this somewhere. I know I do. But basically, it's like bathing, okay? Motivation is like bathing. It doesn't last very long, so you have to do it every day. But you have to be the one to motivate yourself. You can't look for somebody else to motivate you. And especially if you're in a toxic environment, you have to be the one to break away and make sure that you're motivating yourself. So let's see next. He talks about music. So how are you going to motivate yourself? He talks about music. What songs lift you? Okay, what songs are you just like, yeah, I love that song. I love that song. You know, listen to those songs that motivate you and inspire you. What books? You know, read great books. He says, what books change you? What thoughts speak to you? Think good thoughts always. We talk about mindset all the time. So think those good thoughts. What quotes motivate you? He said he actually has a little section on his iPhone that has all of his quotes, and you know, from him, from Jim Rohn, from, you know, Emerson, all these people that have these amazing quotes. And I actually heard a John Quincy Adams quote earlier today. I was listening to MLM Nation, and this is totally a side note, but if you haven't listened to MLM Nation before, I recommend that you do so. I'm going to try to post the one that I listened to on our team page, because it was absolutely amazing. But anyway, so that's where I learned the John Quincy Adams quote. That's why I went off on that little tangent. But, you know, keep those quotes, you know, in the forefront. I have my phone, and there is, at any given time, you know, hundreds of quotes that I can pick from to, you know, post. And I really am liking posting on Instagram, because you have to have a picture. So I'll post on Instagram these inspirational quotes, and I love it. It motivates me. I'm hoping that it motivates other people. I just absolutely love quotes. So, you know, keep those close to you. Find what nourishes you. He says also, you know, recreation, exercise, you know, all of these things. It's like, you know, we hear this a lot too with, you know, when you're a mom, you can't pour from an empty cup. You know, you have to take care of yourself as a mom in order to take care of your kiddos, right? And that's the same as a leader, and anybody really. But I think especially a leader in this business, you know, you cannot pour into your team unless you have nourished yourself first. So make sure you do that. He said, never look to anyone to motivate you, motivate yourself. He says, and this cracked me up. He says, wake up with a gulp. Okay. And this might actually be later. I don't know. I might be throwing this in ahead of the game, but he says, wake up with a gulp. And he explained this. He says, do not wake up with a yawn. If you wake up with a gulp, you're like ready to go, ready to do things for the day, waking up and being excited and getting ready for things, not waking up with a yawn, like, oh, I have to do things today. Like, I don't like that, you know. He's like, you might as well just stay in bed if you're waking up with a yawn. So wake up with a gulp. Just be really, you know, excited to do things. And that's super awesome. I think I definitely skipped forward to that, but this kind of goes along with that. Motivate yourself. What inspires you? He said, somebody asked him, what inspires you to write? And he says, I inspire myself. Do you know how I do that? I get up every morning at 5:30 and I start writing. Bottom line. He said, just do it. You know, if you have to motivate yourself, you have to inspire yourself. Do not look for other people to do that for you, especially if you're in a toxic environment. It's not going to work. So you always have to make sure that you're motivating and inspiring yourself. So I thought that was super cool. And then he was talking about a leadership conference that he had gone to quite a few years ago. And he, you know, walks into this conference and there's a big banner up at the top and it says, why do we lead? And it says, we lead to bring out the very best in others for outstanding results. So why do we lead? We lead to bring out the very best in others for outstanding results. Very rarely do leaders lead for themselves. Very rarely do, you know, top people in this business get there all by themselves. I mean, it's impossible. So, you know, we always want to be looking to make others better than us. And that is the true test of a leader to me, or the true, you know, true test of a leader, I guess. I don't know. And then, so let's see. Growth environment, and then these actually are on the worksheet too. So I'll kind of go back and fill in if you haven't already. But growth thrives in conducive surroundings. Be around great people, visit great places, attend great events. You have to consistently motivate yourself consistently. The bottom of the class is where you're learning. Okay, I didn't get to this one yet. The bottom of the class is where you do your learning. The top of the class is where you do your talking, okay? And he says, when you're talking, you are not learning. So here he's talking about always, so he says, if you're at the top of the class, you're in the wrong class. You should never, ever, ever think that you're at the top. You're in the wrong class if you're at, you know, you're in the wrong class if you're in the top of the class, okay? So, and you know, I just love that. It's like, if you're the big fish all the time, if you're number one all the time, it's impossible for you to grow. If you're always, you know, attending these events and going to these great places and hanging around these great people that know more than you, you're going to continue to grow. I just love that. The bottom of the class is where you do your learning. The top of the class is where you do your talking. When you are talking, you are not learning. That one was pretty big for me. So, okay. And then a growth environment. So how do you produce a growth environment? A growth environment is a place where others are ahead of you. Okay. And that's just like I said, you know, if you're always at the top, you're never ever going to be in a growth environment. So always be looking for somebody better than you. It's a place where you're continually challenged as well. And then let's see, okay, a place where others are ahead of you. You have to have people ahead of you to be able to keep going and keep learning. It does no good to be number one. You can't grow. Okay. And then where do you continue? Oh, sorry. Goodness. A growth environment is a place where you are continually challenged. Every day you get up and there is a motivation. Okay. And you have to climb that mountain. He says, you know, you wake up with a gulp. This is, I think, where he talks about it. Knowing that you have a mountain to tackle. okay, and not being afraid of that, not being afraid of failure, knowing that you have this mountain and you're going to go work at chipping away on this mountain, okay? He says that he always tells leaders, run for the mountains. If you're at the top of the mountain already, there's no motivation to get better, right? So always be looking for these mountains to start climbing. You may not get there all in one day, but eventually you will get there if you are consistent. And then let's see, a growth environment is a place where the atmosphere, my focus is forward. So never look back, never look back. That's just not going to do any good for anybody. Always be looking forward. How am I going to move these mountains? How am I going to get to the top? How am I going to grow? How am I going to learn? Always be looking forward. And that's hard, and that's something that's hard for me too. I know a lot of times I think back to where I failed, what I didn't do, what I needed to do, all these things. I do that a lot, and I need to definitely make sure that I am focusing on moving forward. And it doesn't really matter what happened because I can't change that, right? It matters what I do from here on out. Every single day, living in the day. What can I do today to make my life better? Okay, let's see. And a growth environment is a place where the atmosphere is affirming. And he says, not hypey. Like he was like, I don't like people that are all hyped up and, too much. He said that you burn out. Like if you, start off and you're just crazy and you're all hyped up, that's not good. And also arrogance can kind of come into play there. So you want to be affirming, and you want, to make sure that you're speaking words of affirmation to yourself and to your team, and making sure that there's a positive environment, but not being too much, not too hypey is the word that he said. So a growth environment is a place where you're out of your comfort zone. Okay, we talk about this all the time, right? Especially right now in our IPA challenge group, we're talking about, getting out of your comfort zone every single day. You have to. That's where growth happens. You cannot grow if you're stuck in your comfort zone. So always getting out of your comfort zone is a great idea. And then let's see, a growth environment is a place where you wake up excited. Okay. You don't want to wake up again with a yawn. You want to wake up with a gulp. You want to be excited about the new day and the prospects that, you may get to today, and the people that you're going to get to, and the, people that you're going to share the products with, and the people that you're going to share the business with. Be excited. We're in the best industry in the world, you guys. This is the best business. Be excited about that. We get to help people for a living and get paid for it. It's crazy. So really try to be excited. Wake up very excited about that. Let's see. Okay. And then he says, failure is not your enemy. This is, again, a very hard one for me. I have failed more times than I can possibly count in this business and in my life. And, it's difficult when you're in the middle of failure. It's hard, but that you're going to grow from it and learn something from that. So, being a failure does not mean that or failing does not mean that you're a failure. Okay. So we all fail every single day at something. Okay. And the leaders that got to the top of this company, they just failed more than us. That's it. That's it. They were just told no more than us. That's the only difference. Okay. So don't beat yourself up when you fail. He says most people don't have a healthy perspective on failure. A growth environment is a place where other people are growing. So, again, if you're at the top and, everybody's done growing, that's a bad thing. You want to be, in an environment where people are growing themselves. To me, Plexus gives us that environment. I found out about this friend, Sarah Marble. She's always growing herself. Okay. She's a diamond ambassador, you guys, but she's continually growing herself. Okay. Let's see. There was trying to, Well, there was something I wanted to point out. Plexus, okay, gives us that growth environment. They have given us success on demand. Okay, these are the things that I wanted to talk about. Success on demand is huge, you guys. If you have not gotten into that in your back office, please do. Please, please do. There is endless amounts of, personal growth material there that we have access to because our company wants us to grow. They want us to be better. They have produced this environment for us that they want us to grow. They know that you have to grow personally if you're going to grow in your business. They know that. They also are giving us this amazing content at convention and trainings and things like this. I think 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, I posted about the Plexus Scoop. This is an amazing resource for us that is going to help us to grow our business. The company is always putting out ways, to help us and to help us grow. And so for me, having a growth environment, being a place where other people are growing, that's Plexus. Plexus does that for us. We don't really have to look any further for that. And then, a growth environment is a place where people desire change. Okay. Again, our company is doing this for us. You're not going to find an ambassador out there that just throws their hands up when they hit diamond and say, okay, I'm done. I'm done growing. I'm done learning. I'm done teaching. I'm done leading. That's not how it works. That is not at all how this business works. I say all the time, I am not stopping till I hit diamond. And I should not be saying that because that's not the truth. I will continue always to learn and grow and try to get better and help, my team. Maybe when all of you are diamond, then we can stop. But we won't, because there will always be somebody under us that we're trying to help reach their goals as well. And that's just the beauty of this business. So, be in an environment where people desire change. And then be in an environment where growth is modeled for you. So, again, I'm going to just point out Plexus. Our executives and the top ambassadors in this company model growth for us. They really do. If you look at it, you can find all of these ambassadors that are always growing and learning and teaching. They want us to grow, and they're modeling that for us. So. Let's see. Okay, he read a letter to us that he said every now and then he is able to take a small group of, I think he said it's like 150 people is small to him, but it's a small group of people that he leads very, very intensely. And he said they spend like sometimes 2 years together. So he's been doing this for quite some time, but he just started this again. And this is the letter that he wrote to them. And I'm just going to kind of hit these key points that he was saying. He says there are no shortcuts. Everybody, and this was in the MLM Nation thing that I listened to today. The one lady that was speaking, she said, nobody wants a get-rich scheme. Okay, nobody wants to be in a scam or a scheme or a get-rich scheme, but everybody wants to get rich quick. And that is not how it works. We know that this business takes a lot of work. Okay. And, there's no shortcuts. There's not. It's going to take as long as it's going to take. And it just depends on you. If you quit, you're never going to get there. If you don't quit, eventually you're going to get there. And I listened today to something that, statistics show that if you don't quit within 3 to 5 years, you'll be at the top of your company. So I'm willing to do it for the next 3 to 5 years to hit the top of my company. And I am totally okay with that. He says, let's see, he talked about, and this is on our worksheet too, in everything he's talking about, business, leadership, personal growth, just in your own little family. He says, use the ACT acronym, apply, change, teach. Okay. So that's something that he teaches. He actually changed it to train. So apply, change, and he said teach or train, which it really is the same thing ultimately. Think long-term. Again, think that 3 to 5 years. As long as you don't quit, you will make it. The only way to not make it is to quit. Think beyond yourself. Okay. He says, think long-term. And I wanted to point this out because this was huge to me. He says, leaders develop daily, not in a day. So every single day, what you're doing consistently is compounding, and leaders develop daily, not in a day. Think beyond yourself. The goal is to get better, and to help those that you lead get better as well, right? So that's our goal. Think beyond ourselves. Is especially in Plexus. I mean, network marketing too, but I think especially in Plexus. We have to think beyond ourselves. We have to think about our customers. We have to think about our ambassadors. Anybody, if you have one ambassador, you're a leader. You have to think about them. So always, get outside of you. Don't think about yourself, and definitely think about others and how you can better them. He says, if you want to add, do it yourself. If you want to multiply, bring others with you. And that's one of his like famous quotes. And then he also said, have fun with it, because again, with the thing I was listening to earlier, it is about the journey too. I mean, we always are focused on the end result. We want to be this at this time. We want to be diamond by the time, 2018 rolls around or whatever. We have all these goals, which are great. But also, have fun with it and live your life and live it as a journey. So, I really like that. So some of the key takeaways were, you will only be as good as the people you are around. Visit great places, be with great people, and attend great events. And, it kind of goes back. It's funny. It kind of goes back to what your mom says, if you hang out with the wrong crowd, you're going to go down the wrong path, right? If you hang out with the good kids, you're going to be a good kid. And so just, think about that. Hang around the people, you're only going to be as good as the people that you hang around. So hang around the really awesome people, and always be looking for that. And then Adam and Vanessa Green actually got on and spoke, and I have actually heard them speak before, and they're super amazing. They're a very young couple. I don't even know, they're in their 20s. Amazing speakers, especially him. They're in network marketing. They've been in it for quite a few years, actually. He started when he was young. And he pointed out again that we are the combination of the 5 people that we spend the most time with, okay? 95% of our success and our failure is determined by the people we spend the most time with. 95% of our success and failure is determined by the people that we spend the most time with, okay? So think about the people. And he says, you may go home tonight and, may have to have some tough conversations. You may have to cut some people out of your life. I've actually had to do this in the past, and not necessarily in this business, but, you have to have a positive environment. And if something is getting in the way of that, sometimes you have to cut it loose, or somebody. He says you cannot outsmart or beat the law of the environment. You have to put yourself in a growth environment. And one way to do that is through convention. And then he talks about convention quite a bit. He actually talked about how one of the leading, I believe she's a basketball coach, college basketball coach. And I am blanking on her name now, but she talks about just categorizing people into thirds, basically. And the bottom third are just, so even at convention, so he brings this kind of analogy to convention. The bottom third are just there to have fun. They're just hanging out, hoping to meet, Celeste Quinn or whatever. The middle third, he said, are just kind of complacent, and they're like, whatever, just kind of not doing anything, just complacent. He said those top third are the people that you want to be around. You want to, he said, the top third are always at the front of the room. They're always in those, breakout sessions. I know for us, when we went to convention, there were a lot of people that didn't go to their breakout sessions. And I'm thinking, why? What are you doing? Yes, I know we're in Las Vegas, but who cares? I couldn't have possibly cared less that we were in Las Vegas. I was there to learn. I was so excited to learn from the best of the best, you guys. And if you have not registered for convention, please do so ASAP, because it's about sold out. I think I heard last that there's 9,000 people registered and they're only taking 10,000. So let's make sure to get you registered. If you, want to be in this business at all, involved in this business long term, you have to get to convention. And I'm super excited. We have, I think, like 18 people on our team going, which is just on my team. And I don't know what Ashley and Heather have, but I am super excited about that. So get to convention. It's a non-negotiable, he says. Never underestimate the importance of a live event, and I could not possibly agree more. I've gone now to 2 Super Saturdays and a convention, and you guys, they're just amazing. They're absolutely unbelievable, and will really fill you with that motivation that you need. And again, motivation doesn't last. It's like bathing, so you need to do it every day. Don't compromise your dreams because you are not comfortable. He talks about, getting out of your comfort zone. If you get to the top relatively easy, he says it's really easy to get complacent. Complacency is not a great thing. And then that's actually all I have, I think, which is crazy. The law of environment's not really necessarily fun. It's kind of a no-brainer. If you have some toxic people and, toxic things happening in your life, just, do your best to try to get out of that environment and create a good environment that's going to help you be successful. And I think that these are some amazing tips on how to do that. Some of us are lucky enough to have that, and some of us aren't. Some of us have support at home, and some of us don't. Some of us have more time to offer the business, and some of us don't. So everybody's different. I hope that these classes are helping you. I know they're helping me. I've been in this business March 1st. It'll be 2 years. And I feel like in the last 4 weeks, I have grown tremendously just by learning about this. These 15 laws of growth. It's pretty amazing. And, I just love that even in 2 years, I'm still continually growing. And I know that I have just so much more to go. Okay, guys, I think that's all I have. I'm going to stop recording. And please, as always, if you have any questions, if you need the worksheet, please let me know. I am connected to a Facebook group of all of us that are doing this class. And it actually includes quite a few Diamond Ambassadors, which is super awesome. But, I can get them to help us with questions and answers if I need to. But please never hesitate to ask me for anything. And I'm super excited. I don't know what is next week. Normally they tell us. And so I don't know. I'm going to have to try to figure that one out. I'm going to ask in our group, I think, tonight and try to figure that out. But I'm super excited. I'm going to also try to post that MLM Nation message, or I don't know, not a message, whatever thing, podcast that I was listening to. And all right, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me.